Welcome back to the warm up. This is for episode one of interviewing a fan from every single NBA franchise. A team is right here. We got Nash Palmer is my brother. He's an OKC fan, so we got him on the pod first. He was like, I want to be first up. So I was like, let's go. We got a lot of questions, a lot of stuff to talk about because the whole goal is I want to see your viewpoint as an OKC Thunder fan, like a fan of the team. And even though I'm a big fan of the NBA, I don't have the same insight and thoughts as a straight up fan does. So this is what I want to talk about. So I appreciate coming on.
Yeah, no problem, man.
Okay, so talk to just quick intro. When did you start being a Thunder fan? Why did you start being a Thunder fan? I think I know the answer to those questions, but for the people, what you
Yeah.
got?
So start being a Thunder fan. KD, Westbrook, Harden. Back in the day, whenever they were running the trio, but I've always been the biggest Russell Westbrook fan. He's always been like my top guy. I just love the way he played. That's how I fell in love with the Thunder, and it was tough to see them fall away throughout the years. Hated Kevin Durant when he went to the Warriors. Tough to see James Harden go. Obviously, didn't see his full potential then, so it wasn't as hard to let him go. But then seeing Westbrook, my favorite player, he tried to stay with us, and then he got shipped off. But then we were able to see how Chris Paul came and SGA came, and then how we were going through a rebuilding phase and where we're at now. I've been through the thick and thin. I've seen us get buzzer beaters dropped by Damian Lillard. I've seen the ball get thrown in between Lou Dort's legs at the bubble and barely losing by James Harden and Russell Westbrook. So I've been through some things and I've seen some things, but I'm excited to see how this team is now and seeing that we were a number one seed last year and finals contenders once again.
So, as brothers, you could probably imagine for the people that we are in a very interesting scenario in our basketball relationship because we were in the same room together at like 2 o'clock in the morning playing Fortnite when Paul George was traded from the Thunder to the Clippers and Kawhi signed, and we gave SGA. Now, who was the happy one in that scenario? Me. You were not happy at
Yeah,
all. I think you'd also just gotten killed in Fortnite, so I don't think you were happy at all. But
Gallinari, we
yeah,
got Gallinari and a bunch of picks, but I was like, our team's done for, dude.
yeah, your initial thoughts on that trade. Just go through that night because we were literally up. We didn't stay up very late, but I feel like
Mhm.
randomly we're just like, hey, let's go. And I still have the video on my phone. If I can find it, I'll throw it up. But I was ecstatic.
I was pressed. I remember all the different moments whenever we got PG and Carmelo Anthony. Me and Jake were in a JC Penney's. I remember I was freaking out. I didn't know what to do with myself. I don't know why we were in JC Penney's, but we were in JC
We were
Penney's.
there. Yeah. So now fast forward to this year and today. I'm not like super happy with how that situation turned out. You're a lot happier with how that trade turned out. It just that's just the NBA, man. That's just how it goes.
Mhm.
5 seasons of Kawhi and PG, nothing happens, and then right as that ends and PG leaves, the Thunder are primed to get a 1 seed. So talk to me about this year specifically, 24-25. What impact will your team's new additions have this season?
I think a lot of it's obvious. We got Caruso and we got Hartstein. Those are the big dogs. We know Hartstein. He did really good with the Knicks this last year. Had an upcoming. Wasn't really a big player before then, but we saw that he's a defensive player. He's a hard. He likes to get hard in the paint, and he's a hard worker. And that's something we needed. We just had Chet as our big, and that was I think what we were lacking is in the West. We had to go against some of the best bigs. We had to go against Jokic. We had to go against we didn't have to go against them, but there's the top dogs over there. There was Cat, there was Gobert, there was Anthony Davis in the West. There's so many different people that we had to go against. But I think that now that we have two great bigs, it's going to make a big difference. They're both defensive minded, and I see Hartstein being a great addition to the team.
I want to talk about one interesting piece that I feel like nobody's talking about with you guys. And this, the Giddy for Caruso trade was insane because
Mm-hmm.
the Thunder went to Giddy and was like, "Yo, you're gonna come off the bench," and he's like, "Hey, trade me, find a spot for me." And they were like, "Hey, we can send it." I don't even think they asked him if they're gonna send if they could send him to Chicago. They're like, hey, we're getting Caruso back for you. That's like kind of the greatest thing ever. So we're just going to do
Mhm.
that. Then you sign I Hardaway from the Knicks. That's good. But the biggest, I don't want to say the biggest, but a very, very underrated and underlooked thing that happened this same summer was drafting Nikola Topic with the 14th pick in the draft. Guy who I think underwent ACL surgery, tore his ACL early in the year, but a guy that I almost covered in my prospect series earlier this year in February, but then didn't because I wanted like Monday through Friday and I already had 5 guys who I really liked. But Nikola Topic was going to be top 5 in this draft. Slid down to 14. Y'all picked him up. Now, I'm writing my OKC Thunder Contenders and Pretenders. That should be coming out it should be already out by the time this video is out, like 100%. But that comes off tomorrow for us. You can check it out. But that reminds me of in 2018, I wanted the Clippers to get him, but Michael Porter Jr. back problems, played at Mizzou, easily in high school like the best draft prospect in high school for the 2017-2018 class. Hurts his back, slides down to 4. I literally think it was 14. Clippers had back-to-back picks. We picked freaking Miles Bridges and like Jerome Robinson, but it ended up being like Shai. I wanted Shai and MPJ just because I was like, we got back-to-back first-round picks. Why don't we just go get the guy who was projected to go number 1? We didn't. He slides to 14 or 15. Denver picks him up. Now he was a key starting 5 piece for that Denver championship run. And that's just how it goes. He just slides to him. Everything works out. So that's a very similar scenario in OKC, and I just don't think a lot of people are talking about that, honestly. But he's a good player.
That is something that slipped my mind. I completely forgot about him, but he is. I forgot that he got injured and that he was gonna be a top 5 prospect. I mean, OKC knows how to draft. I tell you what, they know how to get young guys, and this is a young team to do it with. So I think he's going to be a great part of the team. He's going to be able to stretch the floor very well with his height, and he's going to be able to take it and dish it out to whoever, Isaiah Joe, Kendrick Williams, any shooters that we got on the team. He can be able to do his thing.
And it's like seriously so under talked about.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason it's a big deal is because he got drafted to the number 1 team in the West.
Yeah.
And he gets to just kind of be on the team, post up, rehab, go through his whole thing for a whole year. No one's gonna talk about him.
Mm-hmm.
Come back and be like, what the freak did they just get? Like
a lot of sleeper, man. Big sleeper.
Sam Presti, dog. Y'all are
He's
insane.
A dog, dude.
So I just hope that the Clippers don't suck so that you guys don't get another like Jalen Williams off of us. That is
I know that was a steal.
Oh.
That was a steal.
Can't believe that. So, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, obviously, my guy. We drafted him. I'm always going to hold that here because I loved watching Shai. I would never have guessed in a million years that he would be an MVP candidate. Like, I don't care who you think you are. No one was looking at that. Luka, yes, same draft class.
Nobody bet money on that. Nobody
was ever going to be like, no one thought Shai was a scorer. So the fact that he's scoring over 30 points per game is nuts. I thought he was like, hey, he's a good, like, lengthy point guard, defender, very good facilitator, kind of calm. Now he's averaging over 30 points per game, lead the league in steals, right? So last year, Shai was the runner-up to Jokic, which I thought Luka should have been the runner-up to Jokic, but that says a lot for this year because it's literally between Luka and Shai for MVP. So is this the year that Shai wins MVP? And if yes, what does that look like specifically?
I think so. I think 100%. Last year he averaged 30 points, maybe like 6 assists, 5 rebounds, and I think what he needs to do is I think he's there with the points. I feel like that's where most MVPs are at. Is if they're averaging 30 points, they're contenders for the MVP race. But I think he needs to be averaging 30 points, 7 assists, 7 rebounds. We know last year he also averaged 2 steals. Great defensive player, he's totally slept on defensively. But I think that's what he needs to do. I think he's going to just continue to be able to lead his team. Just needs to be that guy in that moment and hit those shots, which he always is. Lots of players in the NBA, so he's got to be one of the hardest players to guard. He's just so smooth. But I think that's what he needs to do is average 37 and 7, and then he'll be able to be that MVP.
That's interesting that you gave me a specific stat line that you want him to average, because think about another guy who could average more than 37 and 7, who's probably going to average 34, 35, 10 and 9 or something.
Mm-hmm.
But you like what you said, the Edge is the number 1 seed. So I think you made a good point that he has to like really show out in the stats. Stats are not everything, mind you, but that is a very clearly like heavily constructed roster that's going to be very, very good. It's going to win a lot of games. And if he does not show out in individual performance, he is not going to be able to beat Luka, I'd say.
Because I think, I mean, we got so many good players on the Thunder, but he still needs to be that guy, even though there's so many other guys that can drop buckets now. Alex Caruso, Hartstein. I mean, we got Kaysen Wallace off the bench. He's a hooper. We got so many guys on our team, but Shai still needs to be averaging those points, and he's also got to be giving those dimes out to those people to be able to help them get buckets as well. And he needs to be that top guy, and they need to be a number 1 seed. I think that's no doubt they need to be a number 1 seed. I feel like Luka, he has some players on his team, but he's always going to be that scorer of that game. He's always going to be having 30 points every single game. I feel like they don't have many more role players than the Thunder do that could be given buckets. So I think it's going to be very close, but I think if Shai has 37-7 and is the number 1 seed, I think there's no doubt that he's the MVP.
Let's talk about this, because it's been a little bit since the MVP of that season has gone and won the finals. So someone hasn't won MVP and finals MVP in a little bit. Because remember, Embiid won when Jokic won. And Jokic won when Giannis won the finals, right? So it's been, I'm just thinking about this. I can't give you a specific year. It's been a second. So do you think Shai can come in and win an MVP and finals MVP? Because last year, talking to me about this, you guys got bounced in the second round by Luka Doncic, who was third in voting, but came out and just scorched you guys, like completely annihilated everyone in the West. So I mean, the Mavericks they kind of stayed parallel. Thunder got a little bit better, but is this team good enough to stop a Jokic going nuts or a Luka going nuts?
I sure hope so. It's hard to say. I think that the pieces that we did get are helpers to stop those people. I mean, we have Hartstein that can help stop Jokic. We got Caruso who can help stop Luka. So I think we got the pieces, and I think that we have the idea of who we need to stop to win and get to the finals. I think that's a big thing of what the Thunder were doing, is being able to get those people that are good defenders and can still give buckets for stoppers for those other stars on other teams. But we do have a lot of good defensive players all around. I think that we can stop Luka and Jokic and get past them.
So we just talked about Shai winning MVP, what he has to do there, 37-7, right? Mm-hmm. And their odds at going to the finals, maybe winning the finals. Shai would probably win finals MVP at that point. Kind of a big step for him if that happens. Mm-hmm. Beat the Celtics probably, or the Bucks, or whatever is coming out of the East. Give me your most raw expectations for this team in terms of, hey, I think Shai's going to win MVP, but this is not the year to win to beat the Celtics. Or, hey, I think maybe it's going to be close to MVP, but I think we're going to win. Like, give me what is your raw Nash Palmer Thunder fan takes for this season?
Obviously, like you said, I want to be confident in my team. I do think Shai will win MVP this year. I have no doubt in that. But I can see us, because of the team that we are, we're a young team, still learning and gaining experience. I can see us possibly not winning the finals, but possibly going. I think that the minimum is us going Western Conference Finals. Us max is going to the finals, but I don't see us winning the finals this year. And I'm fine with that because of the talent that we do have and that they're growing. But I do think we're a pretty young team and don't have as much experience as the other teams do, as Jokic does, as Luka do. I can see us meeting them in the Western Conference Finals, and also, or maybe playing the Celtics or the Bucks. I feel like if we match up with the Bucks in the finals, I don't think we have a chance to. It's hard to beat Giannis and Damian Lillard. But I do have my doubts in the team. But I do see us winning a championship in the next 2 or 3 years, 100%.
You mentioned you don't want to play Giannis. I've said the same thing about the Bucks in their recent video on the channel. About like, dude, a healthy Giannis is just one of those guys. I mentioned my definition of a superstar. I'm still kind of workshopping that. I use that in the video, and people are clowning me for it about like, oh, well then this guy's not a superstar and this guy is a super. I'm like, chill out. It's not all the way done yet. I'm trying to. Basically, I don't know if you watched it, but what I said was a superstar is someone who is like they've won individual accolades and they've done something. So Shai and Ant and Luka, in my eyes, are not like superstars yet. Does that make sense? Giannis, Jokic, KD, Bron, Steph, Kawhi, those are guys who I would deem superstars. That's not.
I can see that. I can see where people disagree. I can see them being rising stars. Obviously,
I like the term stars.
They're some of the biggest guys, but they're huge rising stars, and we know they're gonna be Hall of Famers. They're gonna be greats.
Mm-hmm.
But
so
it's just like thinking of like Victor. Like obviously he's not like a star yet. He's a rising star. We know he's gonna be one of the greatest players that probably ever play the game. But he needs to show it.
Wonderful segue, brother, because I was just going to ask you next, kind of off the dome question. You mentioned Giannis we don't want to play Giannis specifically. We don't want to play Giannis because he's a beast. I'm sure you don't feel that way about the Celtics because Jason Tatum's a lot more mild to handle, but they're more of a unit than Giannis is. So, in terms of like individual people, who are you most afraid of in the West in terms of individual players? Could be Luka, Jokic, Wemby is definitely like in terms of your team's championship window. Who are you most afraid of for the next couple years?
Definitely Ant and Luka and Wemby. I would say those are my three. I could see players, even though the Spurs they probably don't have the best team right now, but I can see players wanting to play with Wemby in the next few years and going there. And he's gonna be a great player. I would say those are the three, especially because they're young players, and they're going to stick with their teams. So I think that I feel like the next couple of years it's going to be Thunder, Timberwolves, Mavericks, and Spurs that are going head to head.
I hope the Thunder, like you're saying, are ready for what's about to happen because it could be, dude, first round of the playoffs could be us, could be LA, could be LA again, could be Lakers, could be like Pelicans. Second round could be Memphis, Minnesota, Dallas, Denver, and then you got to play one of those teams probably another team that makes the Western Conference Finals. Maybe it's a Dallas or so you could end up playing like the Clippers, the Grizzlies with Ja Morant, Zach Edey, all the like Marcus Smart, Desmond Bane, Jaren Jackson. Who that video I'm working on? That's a tough squad. That's second round. Then Western Conference Finals, you got to play Ant or Luka or Jokic.
Yeah.
And then you get to the finals and you play a Giannis and Dame, or you play the Celtics who are going back to back. Road looks kind of tough, but hopefully I want the Thunder to pull through and to hit that and to go to the finals. They're my pick to come out of the West.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I agree.
Okay. How much is that saying for the guy who his team traded their future away for one guy to do 5 like 5 years of just he was fine. I'm not going to say 5 years of mediocrity, but it was 5 years of just But then after that 5 years, for me to be actively rooting for the team who stole my future, my team's future, to go to the finals. Kind of interesting. But I love Shai.
Show love.
Okay, appreciate coming on, dog. Anything else you got to say about the Thunder before we end?
Excited to see how it goes. Hot take, Chet's going to be an all-star this year.
Chet's going to be an all-star this year?
That's a hot take.
Okay. You're not going back on that. You got to stick on?
Chet or J-Dub, either or.
I actually could see J-Dub being an all-star.
I think J-Dub's got to be one of the biggest sleepers in that draft. 100%. He's probably one of the best players that came out of that draft.
Go read this ESPN article.
That's for another story.
Yeah. Go read this article by ESPN. They did like 10 most influential people for the season. And it's like GMs, coaches. J-Dub was one of those 10 people.
There it is.
So go check that out. I thought it was pretty cool because it's not like I think Wemby was one of them too, because it's like, duh. But then there were like coaches and GMs and owners and blah, blah, blah. And then it was like J-Dub. And I was like, what the freak? like,
Yes, sir.
like confused, but I also get it. Like, that's kind of sick. So,
Yeah.
all right, homie. Well, that was the first episode of whatever we're going to call this. I don't have a name for it. I'm just interviewing every fan from X team. Thanks for coming on. Appreciate it. That's all I
Yes,
got
sir.
for today. We out.
Those just